move on just to the elite, aka what we want to call
The
the elite.
Eagles.
No, no, what we want to call the elite, if I can find it right here, is our Super Bowl bubble casino.
Oh, back to
And
the bubbles.
back to the bubbles. I still think I think Steelers, again, they might, especially if on that three
So
game
so the
stretch,
Steel
we
the
might have to squeeze them
Steelers
in.
so what we should have is we should have that Steelers where Washington is right now because
Oh, so they're like almost touching the
they're
bubble.
almost touching the bubble.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's a solid thing. I mean, that's gonna be that should be your Super Bowl right there. Yes, you have the Steelers, and any of these teams look good. The Ravens, that offense is great. Um, but those four teams, you have the Lions, the Bills, Kansas City, and the Eagles, just look outstanding. And the Chiefs don't even look that great. We'll get to that here in a bit. But um, the three-headed lion or the three-headed dragon, let's go dragon. So it's not just lions. The three-headed dragon, you have the lion, the Bills, and the Eagles. I can't see any one of those teams losing to the Chiefs right now. I can't see any one of those teams losing to anybody right now. That's why I am so excited for that Bills Lions game coming up. That is going to be,
Yeah.
and now that could even be a potential Super Bowl preview. I'm really excited, and you know what I'm more excited about is those three teams being better than the Chiefs.
Yeah. And also, when's the last time we had legitimate where we're like two teams in the NFC could win the Super Bowl, two teams in the AFC could win the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
I don't remember a time that happening
Well,
where there's like not a
not
clear,
could
clear
win, but
favorite.
they're not could win. They are expected to win.
Yeah.
There's a
Like
difference because
you can,
all these teams in here could win the Super Bowl, and I could say, I could honestly look at all of them, and if any of these teams won the Super Bowl,
you wouldn't be shocked. Yeah.
maybe not the Commanders, maybe not the Chargers, but if the Packers, Steelers, Vikings, Ravens, and then the core four, any of those teams win the Super Bowl, I'd be like, yeah, makes sense. They had good seasons. They're good teams.
Yeah. Right now in the actual bubble, we have the 10-2 Buffalo Bills, the 11-1 Kansas City Chiefs, the 10-2 Philadelphia Eagles, and the 11-1 Detroit Lions. So, Casino, to talk about these teams, we first have to go all the way back to Thanksgiving night, or well, Thanksgiving morning, technically, to see the 11-1 Detroit Lions win 23-20 against the 4-8 Bears. After this game, Matt Eberflus was fired from this game because for some stupid reason, the Bears didn't use a timeout, even though they had one, just let 30 to 40 seconds run off the clock, and then they tried a Hail Mary attempt into the end zone, even though they were in field goal range to send it to OT. Caleb Williams had, again, continued his streak of just having great games. He's had what? Pretty damn good games for the past month. He was 20 for 39 of 256 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. DJ Moore, 8 receptions, 97 yards, and a touchdown. Keenan Allen also had 2 touchdowns. Goff, on the other hand, 2 touchdowns, 21 for 34, 221. And then the team of Sonic and Knuckles, as they like to be called, had a performance where Montgomery rushed for 21 carries, 88 yards. Jahmyr Gibbs, 9 carries, 87 yards. So, Casino, after this debacle between Detroit and the Bears, were you shocked that Eberflus got fired because of it?
No, not at all. That was some of the worst late game management I have seen. Like, just
I don't think it gets
horrid.
worse.
I
Yeah.
don't. I honestly don't either, dude. You had a legitimate shot to have what, maybe another 6 plays that you could have ran. You could have got the passes outside. You had time. Like, what the fuck were you thinking? Like, you deserve to be fired. 100%. You're done. Get out of there.
Yeah.
Like,
Especially
I
with,
talked to my one of my other coworkers. He's a Bears fan, diehard. He's from Chicago, and he was just like, it's time. It's time. Before he got fired, it was like, it's time.
he never should have
And
been the head coach for this
no, he
team to
shouldn't have been.
begin
He
with.
shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
So so glad he's done. Get him out of here.
Yeah. That was, again, one of the
Because
dumbest things you
I
ever see.
want to see Caleb Williams do well. I was giving them shit at the beginning. I'm sorry. I was giving them shit at the beginning of the year just because it was the hype of the
Yeah, we
Bears.
weren't giving him shit. We were
Yeah,
giving the people talking
right.
about him
And I
shit.
think I think
Yeah.
all four of the top four quarterbacks that hit the draft this last year have done outstanding. Bo
Yeah.
Nix, Jaden Williams, Caleb
All of them
Williams,
home
or
runs.
home
Home
runs.
runs.
I
Yeah.
love Drake May. As a Patriot fan, I'm in love. I'm like, we have a fucking quarterback. We have a
Yeah.
quarterback. Like
No, I agree.
it's outstanding. I love all these quarterbacks. I think they're all going to be very successful in this league, whether they're on the teams that they're on now or if they move away.
Yeah.
So yeah, no,
But
I'm glad he's done. Get Eberflus out of here. What a horrible name.
but
It sounds
then
like
we
a Smith.
see obviously that was really the only marquee game on Thanksgiving, which we thought would be not as close as it actually was. But then we have the treat of a Friday game where the Kansas City Chiefs win 19-17 against the Las Vegas Raiders, our hometown Raiders. I mean, Aiden O'Connell 23 of 35, 340 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Mahomes, 1 touchdown, 3 over 300 yards. This game, because like Chiefs games can't just end normally. This game ends on a flag that was a fumble that was supposed to be blown dead
Yeah,
before the
it
fumble
was a dead
occurred.
ball, dude. That's another one of those just like how for the Chiefs did this like just doesn't make sense. It just doesn't.
A
And
field goal wins this game. Coincidentally, the Raiders just don't get the field goal attempt because the penalty was changed after what felt like a 10-minute discussion between the refs. I was going to play that they can't keep getting away with it, Casino, but we're already running so long. I mean, how do they keep getting away with this?
they because they're the Chiefs, man. And this is what I'm saying is like play one of those top 3 teams, the Eagles, the Bills, or the Lions, and these games won't be close to have this kind of issue. Like again, you had another chance to blow out a divisional rival, to blow out another team, the Raiders. This time it wasn't in Vegas. This time it was like how? Or no, was it in Vegas? I don't remember. I don't fucking know.
No, it was in Kansas City.
Yeah, so this time it was in Kansas City. I went to a brewery that night in California. I got drunk and I was just like, this is great because of that game.
Uh,
But I didn't get drunk. I had to drive. It was sad. I had 1 beer. My wife had 3.
yeah.
Anyway,
And then obviously we're talking about the top 4 teams. I already did the Eagles Ravens, which I'll put in right after this. So that was at the beginning. When I put this into clips, I'll put that part here. It was the biggest game of the weekend, the marquee game of the weekend. We have the format down and we're skipping it to jump into this game first, Casino, because
okay.
also I don't know if you watched the game. I don't know if you saw the game. Maybe I don't know, maybe you saw this hit right here by that same Cooper DeJean.
3rd and 11. Nothing to work with there.
I did see it. I did
That's
see
Derrick
it.
Henry right there. I don't know if you heard about Derrick Henry or not, but
Dude, I heard. You're the worst. You're the worst. I saw that. I saw that hit. It was an amazing hit. He lifted him up off the ground. You gonna let me talk? Or are you just gonna keep doing that?
I can't stop it. Okay, there we go. But yeah, I mean, what are we doing here? What like let's talk about this game, Casino.
Yeah, you got it, Homer. You got it, Homer. Freaking Homer Simpson over here.
Everybody knows that.
Okay, you are a diehard Eagles fan. I get it.
Yes.
And they're a great team. They're an outstanding team. They're better than great team. But there's also 2 teams that are right there with them. Okay? So let's talk about this game first. Do you understand that? Well, we'll talk about this game. I will let you start so I could talk to my daughter here. She's got yogurt everywhere.
Yeah.
Go for it.
I have yogurt over here myself, but it's not yogurt, if you know what I mean. Because I said it last week. I was a week early to the party where I put the Eagles as my number 1 team in the power ranking. Casino said I was crazy. He still thinks I'm crazy. This is the best Eagles team I've ever seen in my lifetime, and I think maybe has ever existed. Okay, because I've seen, I've read about the Randy Randy. The Randall Cunningham games or teams in the past, the Buddy Ryan teams of the past, the Dick Vermeil teams of the past. I've seen the videos, I've watched the documentaries. Obviously, the Andy Reid McNabb era is when I come in. The Nick Sirianni era, he's had some good teams, a team good enough to go to the Super Bowl, but the fatal flaw of that team was their schedule sucked and they played no defense, right? I think you can go back and listen to those episodes where up to that Super Bowl, I was always concerned about the defense, how well they played, the rankings. They were always bottom 5 in basically everything defensively. That is not the case with this Eagles team. With this Eagles team, they are still, after playing the number one historic, on pace to be historic Ravens offense, they are still the number one defense in the league and have only allowed 23 touchdowns. Lions, I believe, are the Lions and Chargers have allowed 20. Everybody else has allowed 23 or more. So I think there's only 5 teams that have allowed less, like 23 or less. And Eagles are one of them. They're the number one total defense in yards allowed, touchdowns are top 5. They're basically top 5 in every category when it comes to the defense. Passing defense, they're 3rd in the league. And running defense, they are 7th in the league. Again, after keeping, you just saw it. Cooper DeJean tackled Derrick Henry in the open field, which never happens. I've watched that clip 900 million times. But my case for the Eagles being the best team this year, the best team I've ever seen of an Eagles team, as we've said before, is they, for once in their franchise history, outside of maybe Reggie White, outside of maybe T.O. the 1 year he was in Philadelphia, they have the best player at a specific position on their team playing his best. Saquon Barkley is at his peak right now, and he's the best running back in the league. In this game, he showed it. Because his only competition was Derrick Henry didn't have a bad game, 19 carries, 82 yards. But then Saquon had 23 carries, 107 yards, and 1 touchdown. They basically average the same amount of rushing yards per attempt.
Against that number one rushing defense, So
Exactly.
I get everything you're saying, and I agree with you with the Saquon Barkley being the best running back, bar none. Like, outstanding running back. But again, this is a team sport, man. So this is a team sport. So just because Saquon's having the best year of his career by far, and he's up there and arguably the MVP, and I'll get to that, when we do our other segment, because I was fully on Josh Allen, and even though Josh Allen had a great game, Barkley doing against that run defense was just phenomenal. So this is the reason why I know that you have the Eagles as the best team in the league, and I still have them. You'll see our power rankings, little update for that. I have them still at 3. Reason being is the Lions are 10-1, and they just have not lost. So it's that same kind of scenario with what the Chiefs were, for the whole part of the season, where I couldn't put anybody above the Chiefs because they just weren't losing. That's where I'm at with the Lions, because both the Eagles and the Lions and even the Bills had their early season losses. And as they've gone further in, they're all just juggernauts right now. So until a team slips, I can't change it up.
That's interesting. But
okay, and then I'm going to continue. I'm going to continue with the Bills, same scenario, and not a lot of players, not a lot of teams can do what the Bills do in snow games. So I know that you're saying, oh, they don't, that's a 1 game off. I get that. But until the other 2 teams slip, I have to keep everybody where they're at, even though all 3 of those teams are just absolute juggernauts that I don't think the Chiefs could even come close to beating any one of those 3 teams. No. I have to keep them in their line of where they were up to this point. That's my reasoning where the Eagles are I have them at my 3. I know you have them at 1. I'm leaving them there.
We don't know that yet. You don't know my power rankings.
Well, fair enough.
But
you just said it, the best team in the league. So that's where I'm leaving it until those other teams slip. So I'll tell you right now, Lions and Bills will play each other, right?
Yes.
One of those teams will lose. I guarantee you, unless the Eagles lose, the Eagles will jump one of those 2 teams. That's how it's going to work. That's how it's going to work for me.
Well, also, why is this not? Why is this not working? There we go. When we look at I sent this
I
to
don't
you.
care about the
So
comparisons,
when we
man. It's a
look at the
team. It's a
comparison,
team game, man.
yeah, but your whole argument is, well, if they play in snow, like they're not going to play in
That's
snow.
not my whole argument. My whole argument, that was a piece. My whole argument is both these teams in a whole, along with the Lions, so make that 3, are playing top tier football. And where I had them ranked was Lions, Bills, Eagles. The Eagles weren't even in my top 10 at one point, but they've moved all the way up. They moved all the way because they figured it out. They clicked, and now it's a 3-way jam at the top. And I'm going to keep them where they were lined up before they all 3 became unbeatable teams.
But see, so we do the power rankings each week, and it's based on the last week of football we just saw. Okay, that's correct, right? That's why we do it weekly.
I have it. I place my power rankings on where they are as a team for the season.
Then
Not the last week, because if it goes by week basis, I mean, hell, the Broncos would be number 1 right now.
No, they wouldn't, because what's the most impressive victory? The Bills beating the 49ers, the Chiefs beating the Raiders, the Eagles beating the Ravens, or the Lions beating the Bears.
Well,
what is the most impressive victory of this past week?
It's the Eagles beating the Ravens. You're right.
Thank you.
Okay, but I'm being dramatic when I say the Broncos. But what I'm getting at is our power rankings would look totally different if you did it off a week-to-week basis.
That's what I do it off of.
Okay,
Yeah,
well, I never do it off a week-to-week basis. I go off of how the team looks in a whole. For power rankings are meant to be for that team for the season. You know, where are they now? Like, what are they now? Kind of situation. I mean, that's how power rankings work. That's how they set up the top 25 in college football. That's how they set up, you know, the power rankings in NFL. That's how it's always been, is where that team is currently for the season at that point. It has nothing to do. They move back and forth from the previous week, but that doesn't change where they are, because, I mean, that blowout loss, that loss that the Ravens had, a while back against the Broncos, the Ravens shouldn't even been in our power rankings if you're going to go off a week-to-week basis.
Yeah, but based off week-to-week rankings, the Ravens have started falling down our power rankings because of what they've done over the season.
Exactly. What they're doing over the season, they keep moving down, and that's why I keep notching them. That's why I keep notching them.
Eagles are on an 8-game winning streak with more impressive wins against teams than the Bills.
And that's why they were not in my power rankings, and now they're sitting number 3 in my power rankings.
Whoa, spoiler.
I told you. I'm already told you what spoilers are. Yes, because I get that, but they've moved up. I just can't. As they've gotten better, there's 2 other teams that have done the same exact thing, done the same exact trajectory with both the Lions and the Bills. So how can I justify putting one juggernaut over 2 other juggernauts when they've had the same timeline trajectory of being badass? I can't. I just can't do that. You can, Homer. It's okay, but it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, Homer, just of the team that's 10-2 with the number 1 defense in the league, top 5 offense in the league. I mean, yeah, what a homer. What a homer. But then after that, Casino, we saw Sunday Night Football. The Bills beat the 49ers 35-10 in a snow game. Josh Allen, first quarterback, to do the pass, rush, and receiving touchdown. Wasn't that what it was?
It's been a long time. So here, pass. I'll look it up. Go for it.
But yeah, Josh Allen, 13 for 17, 148 yards, 2 passing touchdowns. He also had a rushing touchdown and then a receiving touchdown, technically, when his own ball gets knocked back in his arms and he ran for it.
He did. He is the only one to do that in history, was to catch, run, and throw for a touchdown in the same game.
Yeah, even though it doesn't on the stat sheet count as a receiving touchdown, so I don't know how that's a record.
Yeah, and it looked like a rushing touchdown. I will say that. I will say that. But he is phenomenal, and this is where my whole take is with him still being up there for the MVP. And again,
he's going to win it. He'll win the MVP.
But now I want to. I mean, just a quick sidebar over to your Saquon Barkley. is what he did. I know I kind of touched on it. What he did against that number one rushing defense was outstanding. So I know it's going to go to a quarterback, but at this point, I would say flip them. For me personally, for
Yeah.
me personally, you flip the coin for those two. But Josh Allen, if they can continue playing how they're playing, is going to win that award. But you
Yeah.
know what? Rightfully so. He's looked great. He's looked great doing it.
They should
And
honestly just separate the awards now, or
they
just
should.
say
They should.
valuable quarterback and then most valuable non-quarterback, however you want to phrase that to make awards.
Right.
Because
And
yeah, a
it's kind of
quarterback's
refreshing that in college, even though it's not going to be Genty,
that's
it's not
not
a
a
quarterback.
quarterback. Yeah,
It's
that
not a
is
quarterback.
refreshing. Yeah, it's refreshing that the battle for the Heisman in college is between a wide receiver slash cornerback and a running back. It's not even like a cornerback slash quarterback, or like some semblance of a quarterback's in there. A quarterback's not like
Quarterback
0%
placeholder.
chance of, yeah, exactly. But in this game, also I'll spare you the Kyle Shanahan rant of the week, Casino, but maybe in a snow game where it's really slippery, don't put out your running back who keeps injuring his legs. Maybe in a game you kind of don't need because you're already dead in the water. Maybe don't do that. And then you lose two
Well, if
running
they would have
backs in
won
this
that
game,
game, they would only been a game behind.
but you're not winning that game. It's 10-2. Again, you're going against the 10-2 Buffalo in a blizzard. You're the West Coast team who's traveled. This is the farthest you could travel. That's not an overseas game. You know you're not winning this game. You're 5-7. Again, you're in a conference where you can still win the division. So why not just take a mulligan on this game? Also, nobody is going to blame the coach after the game if you get just annihilated and you didn't have McCaffrey in the game. And your reasoning was, well, we didn't want him to get injured in the snow because he's injured a lot. Every single person on earth would be like, yeah, I get it. Like, you're not winning. Nobody thought this 49ers team would win this game, except let me check. Did I put them down as my upset of the week? No, I did not. So we both had the Bills. So yeah, every 49ers fan I know who I work with was like, we're going to get annihilated. We're going to get killed. And then you did. And then you lost two running backs. So again, Bills are good. Bills are good. 49ers aren't. They've been bit by the injury bug. Also, Purdy, I don't know what that injury was, but
Dude,
he comes back and he throws 90 yards.
yeah,
That's
it's something with his throwing arm. It's been talked about. So it's like something to do with like his rotator. I don't know.
yeah. Also, Debo Samuel, again, talking all that shit last year, and now he just can't stop fumbling and losing.